What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another edition of What's Happening on Poppet's Corner. It's going to be a good episode tonight. I am looking forward to. I've been looking forward to this all week. I know Miss DJ Mermaid has as well. Uh,
Mhm.
uh, just want to first, give a shout out. We should mention that Shannon is not joining us this week. He has something else to attend to, so we wish him well and look forward to having him back on next week. I got my beverage in hand. I know Emily's got hers, and
Uh,
so let's.
Dr. Pepper.
Why don't you tell everybody what we got going on today?
So what we decided is we picked a year and we picked like a certain year, any record from that year, and we picked 7 records from that exact year.
Very cool. I'm looking forward to seeing our picks. So why don't you begin? Before you begin, I should mention I am completely off of Facebook as of this moment. If you guys need to reach me, this is probably a good place to leave me a comment. I'll probably end up sending you like an email or if you want to stay in touch. If not, no big deal. But just want to throw it out there. I am officially done with Facebook. I deactivated my account today, so I'm free and clear. Have all the time in the world. So I'm looking forward to the next venture in my specific career. So anyway,
Yeah.
Miss Emily, go for it.
That's solid. I just think it's funny that this whole week we were both really texting back and forth. What if we did pick the same year? So now I'm gonna reveal my year after we've been talking about it all week. I picked 1989, and the first record I picked is the Great Radio Controversy from Tesla.
Right
This is
on.
their second record in their career, and this record is one of the ones that like they have a lot of like fucking like acoustic and like electric, which I learned. And of course, it has the amazing love song on it. And this is a very hard record to get. This took a lot of searching and spending. I probably spent like $40-$50 on this record, dude. And as you see it on there, it says $7.99. Insulting, right? But great fucking record, dude.
That album might be my favorite Tesla record.
I could agree with that.
I'm feedbacking a little bit through your setup there, so just be aware. And you know what's funny? We wouldn't not have picked the same year if I picked the first year I did, because I would have picked 1988.
Thought about it, but there's not enough for me.
Yeah, I would have put in bands like Hellstar and Heretic and MX Machine, but I went the 70s route. So I'm going to show you the record first. This is Focus with Moving Waves. This came out in 1971. So 1971 is the year I picked. Hocus Pocus, anyone?
Dude, that song is everything. That brings me back where it's like da 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 da.
Plus I'm a prog guy, so I picked more of a prog style output this time around. But even Side 2 Eruption is like a 22-minute epic, so I gotta go the prog route and pick some Focus. So that is my first choice.
So what do? You just light up a bowl real quick and then you put it on that 22-minute thing and you're like, yeah.
Or you do a drink in hand.
Pretty much, dude. The song Hocus Pocus makes me laugh because my mom hated Focus, and every time I'd play that song, she'd be like, "Do you really want to be kicked out of the room right now?" So it became a whole deal. Well, we'll go back to my year was 1989. Presto from Rush. This was like, I feel like a big turning point in their career actually, because so they went from using a lot of synthesizers. Now with this one, they went back to using a lot of guitars, and this was their 13th studio record. Has amazing classics like The Past, which I fucking love because he's doing fucking chords on there. Show Don't Tell, Red Tide, Chain Lightning. Solid fucking record, dude. And it's the weirdest fucking cover because there's a rabbit on there.
That might be my absolute least favorite Rush. One of my least favorite Rush albums, but great. It's a great record. It's not as strong as their earlier or later output. Especially the album that came out after that one. I really like that one a lot.
With me, I have that with like I don't really care for Snakes and Arrows, and I don't really care for Vapor Trails. I don't know why. Those two never stuck with me.
A lot of people didn't, but yeah, Presto was one that never never got into, except maybe one song, which was Show Don't Tell. Is that off that album? Show Don't
Mhm.
Tell? Yeah.
I feel like that was their comeback song because they switched at that point and they left the record company they were with before, so they took a huge break to actually write this record. Well, like a 6-month break. That's what I read. And they came back. They wanted to be more like guitar oriented because they were just coming back from that synthesizer-ness, you know?
Well, I loved Hold Your Fire, but that was, I love that era of Rush anyways, but
Of course you did. You're a
cool.
Power Windows guy.
That's right. Fucking A. All right. So going to, towards the prog route again, a lot of my choices. I picked Jethro Tull's Aqualung record. Absolutely love this record. Fucking rules. The song My God is like one of my great starting track for side B. It's got Locomotive Breath, which is really heavy. And of course the title track Aqualung. It's still probably played on AM or FM radio. And yeah, dude, the flute probably dominated my first two picks so far. So there you go. Jethro Tull.
I just love that time where they were in the Grammys with, I think it was Metallica and what was it, AC/DC, and they fucking won the Grammy, dude. And like everyone, I guess didn't they tell them not to show up to the Grammys because they're not gonna win. And then like another thing is the singer, how he does his little dance moves on stage with the flute. I don't know, stuff like that, man.
I would not consider them a metal band. They wouldn't either. But yeah, that just shows you the cluelessness of the Grammys, though. So I don't pay attention to any of those award shows or the Rock and Roll Hall of Shame or any of that shit. Fuck that.
Hall of Shame. Okay, we'll get back to my pick. So we're, like I said, 1989. I decided to pick Practice What You Preach, third studio record. Practice What You Preach was more towards like a progressive style lyric theme, more political and like all like in society. Has great songs like Practice What You Preach, Envy Live, Time Is Coming, Greenhouse Effect, The Ballad. Solid songs, a hard record to get, very hard to find. This took me like at least 2 years to find, dude. Because they won't. I don't know why they won't repress it, but they should.
They probably don't own it.
Yeah, but the weird thing is they've repressed everything else but this one. Like
they probably don't own it. Is my point. Just like the violence thing. Who knows? I don't know.
Oh yeah, they don't own that. They don't own the
so yeah, exactly. So that's my point. It could be one of those situations where they don't own their music to have a say enough to press it. So, all right, let's go. So obviously we're still in 1971. One of my favorite live records ever. This is Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young with a Four-Way Street. This is live at, and if it's one of my, I think it's live at Woodstock or something like that. But
whoa, really?
One of the best harmony bands ever, in my opinion. Nobody better than at least Crosby, Stills, Nash. But then when you add Young in there, it's a win-win. So they got a 13-minute version of Southern Man, which I loved. They only played like a couple seconds off of Sweet, Madam Blue or whatever. So, but great record nonetheless. If you're into live records, definitely recommend this one for you.
I definitely feel in the future we should have a top 5 or 6 on live records. That would be a solid episode. Back to 1989.
Absolutely.
Picked Years of Decay. This is their 4th studio record. Last one with Bobby
Gustafson?
Yeah. Sorry, I have a hard time saying that. Leaving only Bobby Blitz and Dee Dee as the founding members of the band. And this is like, I guess Terry Date actually helped produce this record, dude.
It's a solid record.
Yeah, dude, from start to finish, everything. Time to Kill, Elimination, I Hate, Birth Attention, Evil Never Dies, all solid. Well, this whole record from start to finish, solid.
Spiders, I think that's off that record too. Is it Spiders? Is that what it is? It's really like it's a longer piece. I think it's off that record.
Playing with Spiders / Soul Crusher.
Yes, that song fucking kills. I love
this whole record. This whole record, dude. This is one like you don't have to skip. You're not like, let's skip this one. Hate that song. This one, Plays the role
That's
away.
more, but that's when Bobby kind of had a more cartoony voice to him, like Zetro, like Zetro had it on Fabulous Disaster and on that really cartoony kind of voice instead of singing. And I really like Overkill when they sang, just like Exodus, like Pleasures of the Flesh. I really loved when Zetro, sang. I love that shit.
I
So,
feel you. I also liked like the screams, like how like when they did oh my god, I can't think of it. Necroshine, which is a different record completely. How he does that like thing with his voice. I don't know that's why he's one of my favorite 80s thrash vocalists.
he's one of the best metal vocalists, period, in my opinion.
I agree.
I'm not discrediting him. I'm just saying I really like when he's saying, as opposed to the more cartoony style voice that he took on. But yeah, dude, the other I loved Horoscope too, which I think was after that. But
fantastic.
One of my favorite bass tones on a record was Horoscope.
I like that they covered Frankenstein, dude. That was sick. That's another record from start to finish that's fucking amazing. The drums on it, oh my god, dude. They always had a killer drummer, dude.
Yeah, always. The bass tone is just
I know.
All right. So we're going back to 1971. Some of these records are kind of really heavy for the time, in my opinion. And this one's no surprise. This is The Doors with LA Woman. Even like the Changling and Love Her Madly, classic material. It's still played on the radio. Maybe not the Changling, but Riders on the Storm, LA Woman. Can't go wrong here for me on the Doors. I just love them so much, and sad. What a great last record from a band. Only a few have done it justice, and this is one of them.
That record's fucking amazing, dude. Jim Morrison was a hell of a frontman, dude. In my opinion, one of the best frontmen. Knew how to do it, dude.
One of the best during that time, especially vocally wise. I love his vocals.
Definitely. Didn't he wrote the lyrics? No, that was his deal.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic, man. Yeah. That record, I think, if you don't like it, you have problems. That's one of those bands that you have to like. You have to like them.
It just as a music fan, I love it. Not just as a rock guy or this. There's just certain bands that I have to appreciate, and the Doors are one of them.
I definitely agree, man. So back to 1989. This is one of my favorite fucking singers. I even have him tattooed. Well, I have his autograph tattooed on my thigh. Mr. King fucking Diamond. This is my favorite fucking record from him. Fourth studio record, concept record. It's the second part of them because those two match up together. Last record with Mikey D on drums, dude.
Mickey D. Yeah.
Mikey D. I just said Mikey D. Wow. Mickey D. Whoops. But you know what I mean? This fucking fantastic. Dude, why did I say Mikey D? What the hell?
I don't know.
But last record with Mikey D on drums, bro.
Mickey D?
Yeah, I had a brain fart, okay? My favorite song off this is At the Graves. Sleepless Nights is, dude, At the Graves is amazing. Great way to start the fucking record. And then the second song into it, you got Sleepless Nights. Then Lies. I like the part where he's like, you took the stethoscope and forced it down us. So I'm like, dang, dude, like those lyrics are just intense.
Victimized, dude.
Oh, Victimized. Cremation's pretty fucking sick.
Again, another record I love from start to finish.
Dude, you have to. This is a definitely start to finish one.
Conspiracy, them. To me, they're all classics. I love that stuff.
Abigail Rules too. Fatal Portrait.
There's a reason why he played Abigail in its entirety, and I loved every second of it. But
me too. I was like,
my jaw. The whole Conspiracy record, and I would be there too. Anything King Diamond does live, I'm there.
I hope that like when shows maybe do become a thing, that he does like revisits like maybe doing one of these from start to finish, or like them. That would be amazing. That's one of my dreams. This one for sure, because this is my favorite record from them.
If they played them and then Conspiracy right after, ooh, because I really them was my first King Diamond record, and I still love that. Still love it to this day. Especially the song T. And Missy, Mother's Getting Weaker, but that's off another record. But yeah, great choice. Regardless, great choice. All right, so this again should be no surprise. It's 1971, so rewind the clocks back and think back if it was, during this time, there's nothing heavy, right? If you heard Zeppelin 4, again, another record from start to finish I absolutely love. But if I heard this during that time, they would be my band from here on out. Number 3 and Zeppelin 3 and Zeppelin 4 can't be beat. Again, they still play songs from those records on FM radio, especially Stairway to Heaven. But I like Going to California, When the Levee Breaks. Misty Mountain Hop is kind of a cool, like upbeat kind of song. It always reminds me of the movie Almost Famous because it's in the movie, but
Yeah.
absolutely love this record from start to finish. So Zeppelin 4 is my next choice.
Solid pick, dude. Everything off that record rules.
So good.
Man. Rock and roll, that's like one of the first Zeppelin songs I learned.
And even though like songs are played off of it, I still enjoy listening to it as a whole.
Definitely, that's one of those ones you can listen to as a whole, no skips.
Just like Boston's first record, I can listen to it like in its entirety, even if it's played, religiously on FM radio.
Dude, I agree, man. That was a solid pick. That was a solid fucking pick. The next one I'm picking, I don't think it's any surprise, came out in 1989. First record was Skid Row. Well, this is their fucking debut. Mr. Sebastian Bach fucking rules. Dude, everything about this record. This is another one. I got to see this in its entirety like last year. No, not last year. Sorry, we're in 2021. 2019. I got to see this in its entirety at the Whiskey.
By Skid Row, I think, or Sebastian
by Mr. Sebastian Bach.
Okay.
Yeah. He did 2 nights. He did this one, and he did, oh my God, why can't I think of it right now? Slave to the Grind.
How was it, though?
Dude, it was fun. He did pretty good. Dude, he did good. The only thing that weirded me out about the whole show is, so like, bands put like backgrounds. Well, he has all these pictures popping up from the 80s, and I'm like, okay, dude. And then at the one point, because he played it in its entirety, he grabs the record. Now we're going to flip it to side 2. And I was like, okay. We're going to get a little cheesy, I guess. But, man, this is a solid record, dude. Piece of Me, 18 in Life, Youth Gone Wild, I Remember You, Rattlesnake Shake, fucking everything, dude. Sweet Little Sister.
Bro, though, man, like for as many hits as they had, they were one of those bands that just I see why they play, clubs and they're not as big as they once were. I like that record for sure, Enslaved to the Grind, but after that it's like, what else?
I feel you.
Like those 2 records, because Subhuman Race did not really sell very well for them, at least to my knowledge. But again, I could be wrong.
They're missing Sebastian Bach now. They have their own gig, and then Sebastian Bach has his thing, which of course I could only see him playing clubs because I don't know. I don't see this as arena music. Maybe back in the 80s, but today is no, because it's like people my dad's age, and I guess me, because I go. I know you probably go.
I would, yeah, but I'm just not a big enough Skid Row fan to care. That's my problem. Like, if King Diamond were to do a record in its entirety and that I liked, I'm there. If Sebastian Bach does, Slave to the Grind, I'm like, do I really want to drive to the Whiskey and pay for parking and the drive back home? And it's like, it's just,
these are my party jams. Like, if you ever like follow me on fucking Instagram or like Facebook, these are my party jams. This is what I'm chugging to. This is my jam. That's why it's like when it comes on, I'm like, dude, we're gonna go to the Whiskey. They're playing the Whiskey. We're going, jamming, gonna chug. And it's funny, the merch chick. So as everyone knows, I have a Rush tattoo on my hip. She walks up. You have a Rush tattoo? Someone in the band likes Rush. I want to take a picture of it. I look at her and I'm like, oh, Mr. Sebastian Bach, right? Because we all know he loves Rush
and Kiss, yeah,
and Trains,
and Trailer Park Boys.
You love that episode about Trains. Come
great episode, dude.
Very greasy.
Fucking great. But yeah, they're just Skid Row just never did it for me. In terms of what other bands from that era did, And it's funny. So you're mentioning like Sebastian Bach having old pictures. Was it like that Bon Jovi thing where he had just a random picture of him, what he used to look like in the back, just to remind people of like, hey, this is what he used to look like?
Dude, it looked like he would like it was all the photos looked like he was in his like 21 20 to like 24, 25. I didn't see any older pictures because as you know he got a little heavier. I don't think he's that heavy as he was, but he got heavier, so he made sure he didn't have any of those photos in there. All ones where he's topless and posing like this, or you know the whole '80s deal, dude. Cheesy poses.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to take us back in time again to 1971. Again, you have to have that in mind when I'm showing you these records because it's not the 80s. It's not, but for the 70s, I feel these records are the heaviest of the heavy at this time, right? And the loudest band around that time for me is none other than the Who, and this is Who's Next. Again, another record from start to finish, probably my favorite Who record ever. It's obviously all four of them peeing on a thing of cement, except the only one who actually peed on the thing of cement was Pete Townsend. All the others were added in later. So that's a fun fact about it. But dude, even no matter how many times these songs are played on the radio, I listen to this in its entirety and I just love it. So again, no brainer. Number 2 for me. Who's Next?
It's funny because now this makes sense of why you brought this up the other night when I was like, oh, he brought up the Who, which is a solid record, but it makes sense because you're probably like considering your picks.
Oh, and it was brutal, fucking brutal. Yeah, because I kept switching them. I'm like, I have 2 of this year and 5 of this one and 18 of this one, and I'm like, oh, how am I going to do this? So
for me, I could do any like ones in the 80s, but the 90s is very hard because I don't have a lot from the 90s. The 2000s, I'm finally getting there. 70s, I could have accomplished finally. 60s.
Yeah, the 60s.
That's really hard. 60s is really hard to accomplish.
But the 90s hardly had vinyls pressed, so you got to think about that as well because CDs were the big thing, right? Nobody was buying vinyl around that time. So
it sucks. Because like when I did my interview today, we were talking about why he put the certain thing on cassette, and I'm like, dude, you guys should put it on vinyl. I would have bought it on vinyl. I don't collect cassettes. I don't know. I think vinyl's life. That's me.
See, I'm a CD and vinyl guy. If it's on one of those formats and I want to like bring it in my car, I'm gonna get the CD. Just depends on the record for me though. You got to admit that even when buying a record, you're like, is this going to be better on CD or vinyl?
I feel you, but I still stick to buying vinyl. Like last year, I think with the picks I did pick for top 20, even I bought like 5 or 6 that came out because I felt those were the ones that I actually digged and were worth buying on vinyl. Not trying to insult anyone. I'm just saying, as we know, Madras made it in that collection of picks.
I appreciate you. But I'm really, as a side note, I'm really thankful for the amount of support. And I'm glad you guys like the record because
rules, dude.
Awesome. I've seen it on 4 lists so far as number 1, so that makes me feel like $1 million. So thank you guys. Way better than being on the billboards. I'm sorry that to me is just way better. So,
when I was piecing my show together today, I got to listen to the Serpent's Quest, dude. I was like. And then you just hear your Serpent's Quest, and you're just like, fuck yeah. Yeah, I didn't do it justice.
Fun fact about that song. So if I can, I'm sorry to get off tangents if you really want to know some things. So that song, so we recorded it, like the vocal track, we recorded it in like, a few takes or whatever. I didn't like it. I didn't like the first draft of it. So I was like, you know what? Let me do it one more time. And so that version that you're hearing is literally like, maybe 3 takes put together of that song, and I wanted my voice to be higher because it's the start of the record, and when you put it on, I wanted it to be like, it grabs you by the throat, shakes you, and just doesn't let go. So that's the reason for
that's how I felt when I was listening to it today.
And then that calming part was like, I can breathe, and then it comes in again. It's like, oh, I'm fucked again. That was just my thinking when we were writing it and piecing it together and then recording it. So I was like, this song has to be the opening track because of those specific reasons. Because you want people to, you want to get them into listening to the record, engage them. And I feel like a lot of records don't do that as well, during these times. Like there's nothing more important than a great opening and a great closing track.
I could agree, dude. All right, well, we'll get back. I have my last record. We're going from 2020 back to 1989 because we were talking about your record. That was 2020. Mm-hmm. I got Cocked and Loaded from my favorite 80s band. Yes, it's signed by Tracy Guns and Phil Lewis right there when I met them. I guess it's a year and a half now since we didn't have any shows really last year. Everything about this record. This is the second record after their self-titled. It's the first record with like a full record with Steve Riley on drums. And then, because if you look at the other one, he's credited on drums for the other one, so I had to make sure to say full record. And then it has fantastic songs like Rip and Tear, Sleazy Come, Easy Go, Never Enough, Malaria, The Ballad of Jane, which is Tanner's favorite. I think you said you hated that song so much, but I had to say that. And then, dude, it's just everything. And it has fucking Phil Lewis on vocals, The Love of My Life, the background on my phone.
Here's what I'll say about LA Guns. I'm just not familiar with them.
I could show you some stuff.
But I just can't stand that specific song. Because remember VH1 Classic? Do you remember that station? Anybody else remember it? Yeah, Metal Mania. It was like every third video that they would play either Bon Jovi or LA Guns, and it'd be the same fucking song. And I'm like, you know what? Or it'd be like Pantera, or it'd be like the same songs over and over again. And I just got sick of it. I'm like, the same Poison song, the same Motley. It's like, God damn it, dude. It's just not worth it. So like that kind of left a sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't like that song. It reminds me of like that time where it's like, ugh.
For me, like, so I watched VH1 Classic like you and watched Metal Mania. And I do agree. But for me, it was always either like Ballad of Jane, like you said, or it was Bitches Back that they played. Sometimes you throw Never Enough in there, or sometimes they will throw like Rip and Tear, but not often. It was either Ballad of Jane or Bitches Back. So that's how I got into LA Guns is VH1 Classic.
Yeah, they just never that specific song just didn't do anything for me. I got sick of it.
Dude, they're fantastic live, dude. And what's crazy, actually, they have another song off this record called "I Want to Be Your Man," but for my pressing, it's not on here.
Interesting. Maybe that was like European or maybe a European only, or they couldn't fit it on there. I didn't really do. I should have done more research. I just had to make sure in my notes that I put that Ballad of Jane as Tanner Pop's favorite. Well, thank you for that. I'm glad you thought of me there.
No, when I wrote that, I was like, dude, and it just clicked in my mind, doesn't Tanner hate that song? Wait, I don't know, but I'll throw it in there because he'll correct me if I'm wrong. But I was like, he hates that song.
I hate that song, not the band. I'm just not familiar with the band, but I'm
going to send you some good LA Guns stuff. We're going to make you an LA Guns fan.
Here's the thing. When I met Tracy Guns, couldn't have been nicer.
I don't know. He was mean to me when I met him, but
I mean, I met him on that metal show when I went on. So he was meeting everybody, but he was super nice to me. So
I think he was mean to me because he kind of like ignored me. And I think it's kind of my fault because when I saw Phil Lewis and I got to stand next to him for the photo, I'm like, I get to stand next, and I said it right to Phil Lewis, I get to stand next to my favorite LA Guns member, and I don't know if that was insulting.
Oh, well, that's probably not an insult at all.
but Tracy Guns is probably like, fuck, okay, whatever.
Great guitar player.
He is, dude. He's fantastic.
Guitar player. So
amazing
not
player.
Credit away from him. Just the songs. I got to get into more LA Guns. I'm just not familiar.
Dude, if you ever see him live or when the shows come back and they play, I'm gonna buy you a ticket. We're fucking gonna go, and you're gonna see him live, and you'll be like,
version.
He's amazing, dude. He's amazing. He does solos. So they walk into Diary of a Madman, as you know, a lot of bands walk into songs. And that one, he'll like come up on stage right before, and he'll start like jam into it, dude. And fucking sounds great.
Well, I know Machine Head does it to that song too, but I'm saying, which version of LA Guns do you want to go to?
We're going to the right one, in my opinion. It's Mr. Tracy Guns and Phil Lewis, as we had this talk, because remember, LA Guns dropped a record last year, and I picked them.
Well, let me ask you something. as well. When Phil Lewis and Steve Riley were in the band, was that the real LA Guns for you, or was the Tracy version? Because now I'm putting you on the spot.
Because that one's a little hard for me because I always feel like Tracy Guns is LA Guns because to me, LA Guns is Tracy Guns' band because they had Paul Black as a singer before Phil Lewis, but we all know LA Guns with Phil Lewis. But for me, LA Guns is Tracy Guns' band, like how in a lot like Steve Harris is Iron Maiden, he's the only original member. You know, we could do Madras, you're basically it's all you. Like so I would say that Tracy Guns is the real LA Guns because it's his LA Guns. But it's nice that they're together again because Phil Lewis is my favorite LA Guns.
They hated each other.
I know, dude.
Hated. Like
I remember it was like NAMM 2018. No, 2017 they got back together. Or like a little bit before that. And I remember like fucking going like, dude, don't they hate each other? This is gonna be cool. Hopefully there's no fight.
Steve Riley, he does not enjoy. So I'm like, I don't know. I can't judge any of these guys. It sucks that they did bad business deals though, where there's like 5 different versions of that same band, but
I think there's only 2 right now, right?
Oh, I'm just saying, like I make fun of them because they're infamous.
I think at one point there was 3 or 4 of them, but I think right now there's only 2. But I still pick the Tracy Guns and Phil Lewis version.
Of course. You know, Kelly Nichols. I don't know.
The band.
Well, I don't know if Kelly Nichols is the original bass player. Is he?
I don't know. I just really pay attention to the 2 members I keep naming because but as a bass player, I don't think Kelly Nichols could run. Not Kelly Nichols, just a bass player running a band's kind of weird unless you're like the front man too. I don't know. I just
tell that to Steve Harris. So, but
anyway, no, that's when I took it. Well, okay, I take it back with him because he's amazing. But I don't know. I just don't agree that that's all he got.
And Lemmy. But anyway, so my last pick shouldn't be a surprise. It's 1971. Again, heaviness. I love prog. So I had to go with ELP Tarkus, and I just absolutely adore this record from start to finish. Again, it's one of those records I listen to all the time. I mean, all the time. And when I sent you that spinning piano, I'm really happy that you actually checked it out. And it's fucking crazy, right? For 1971 or 2 or 3. So.
And you said he's wearing no harness?
There's no harness on it. There's nothing, dude. If you go back and watch it, he like has his feet. Like that's what's keeping him kind of.
That'd be scary,
dude. But dude, imagine you're seeing there's like 1 million people. And you're watching this happen, and you're like, "Holy shit!" So
I think my mind was blown for at least 5 hours after you showed me that. It got to the point the next night we had like some friends over, and I'm like, "You guys, they're listening to music at the garage." I was like, "You guys got to see this," and I pull up our texts. And I was like, "Fucking watch this!"
And everyone's like, "This isn't that impressive," but you're like, "What do you mean?"
Oh, they're all amazed, dude. They're like, what? He's on a piano, and it's like a grand piano. It's like
Tommy Lee. I was blown away when I first saw that. I was like, "What is this?" That would have blown my mind.
I just think of like how you're like Tommy Lee has nothing on this, and I was like, "What?" And then you watch, you're like,
"Yeah." You totally made fun of it too. You're like, "What does Tommy Lee have to do?" Like, just watch the video. And you're like,
"Shut up for a while, Emily, and watch the video, okay?" Gosh.
I didn't say shut up.
Right. That's weird.
I didn't say shut up. I just said just watch the video and you'll see what I'm talking about.
No, I'm saying that's how you like probably were thinking, dude, just listen to me. Come on.
And by the way, yeah, dude, it's a 20-minute epic on side 1. So please, people, check it out. You might enjoy this as much as I do. So that is my
you're drinking some White Russians and you're gonna put that on and you're just gonna be jamming it.
As soon as we're off, I'm gonna jam it for you. But you know, so 1971, 1989. I like that. Pick different decades. I almost picked 1988 though. So
that would have been so like, psh, we were so close all week, dude. I'm like, dude, I wonder if we picked the same year. Well, and you're like you're kind of like, I hope we didn't, kind of. But and then I'm like, and then we're like, well, it wouldn't be the same records because you like obscure and I like obvious.
That's not true either. I like obvious as well. I'm just. Certain records just do it more for me. That's all. And I tend to like the more obscure stuff because I feel they're my bands You know what I mean? Like, can we have a serious conversation real quick before we get off here? Like, you know those bands where it's like you discover a record and maybe not as many people know of them, but it's like, this is my record. This appeals to me. You know, and some mainstream artists do, and a lot of obscure artists do. It just depends on the album for me. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I could agree. I mean, it's I don't know. Kind of went over my head a little bit, not gonna lie.
But you know what I'm talking about, right? It's not just like the question doesn't make sense to you. It's like,
No, I just I guess I just look at it myself as like I like obscure stuff sometimes, like Crush and Grunt I think is kind of obscure. For like
yeah.
it's like an acquired taste a bit, but like that only happens so often with me.
Well, a lot
Like
of our underground bands are like that, though. A lot of the stuff we picked on our lists, they're like that.
yeah, for me, like I was like kind of weird. So like when I put Code Orange as my like 20th thing, and they're fucking kind of weird in a good way, solid way.
Yeah.
Same with that band Madras, are a little weird, but you get into them really easily.
Again, though, but we are kind of obscure, and unfortunately, right? But we are. I kind of like that aspect. I kind of like the fact of like we are your band. Like I would much rather and Rush was like that for a long time for certain people, you know.
Well,
Because
I like that you're not trying to.
they were real. I like real stuff. Is my point.
I just like that a lot of like bands, especially like with Madras and like a few other bands I could totally name right now. They're not trying to fit in the cookie cutter like mold of what's like happening in the whole scene right now. And I like that. I like when bands kind of do that. So I guess I do like obscure stuff. It's kind of nice to not hear all the same bands sounding the same or the same record sounding the same because you like to hear growth.
Right, but we also like top notch just some mainstream bands like Van Halen fucking rules, dude.
Yeah, that's my party jam. That's my chugging music.
Absolutely. But so I'm just saying, works both ways, but I do like both aspects, just like you. But yeah, 1988 would have had more obscure stuff like Hellstar and Heretic and a lot of great bands. No White.
I would have liked to see what you would have done for 1989.
I don't even know what I have for 1989.
I'm just saying, I want to see how different our list would have been.
Ooh, well, I mean, we would kind of have to do a list just for that,
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I don't know where my CD is, but I would have picked that the Granny in the Bathrobe for 1988 as well. So those all came out during that year.
Dude, someone that's my Facebook friend has that on vinyl. Whenever I see her post it, I think of you.
Wait, have you heard the record or no?
I'll make the time. I'll make the time tonight. I'm not going anywhere after this. I'll make the time tonight. Oh, I finally have some time because I got everything done for next week. Well, Monday at least.
Well, if you do remember, great. If not, it's no big deal. But I'll keep reminding you. But anyway, we're out of here, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I had a lot of fun, and I'm sure Emily did as well. And I believe next topic we have is our Turning Point records. And I'm going to explain to this real quick before we get out of here, if you don't mind. These are records that are a turning point for the band in terms of their sound. I'm not going for like the turning point in terms of their popularity. I'm just doing it in terms of like what the band became after that. So like every record that followed was kind of in that same vein. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'm looking forward to it. Shannon will be joining us next time, but make sure to follow us on on YouTube and DLive and Twitch. Soon, I'm sure this channel will be off of YouTube. I'm trying to get off of big tech as much as possible, but no longer on Facebook. Again, if you guys want to reach out and keep in contact, go for it. So anyway, another edition of Popic's Corner. We're out of here.